Hong Kong has suspended all flights in and out of the territory as thousands of anti-government protesters hold a sit-in at the international airport, one of the world's busiest. Mass demonstrations and unrest show no sign of abating more than 2 months after they were sparked by a controversial extradition bill. Now, many of those protesting are critical of the actions of police, who on Sunday were caught on film firing tear gas at close range. In the last hour, the Assistant Commissioner of Police Operations in Hong Kong responded to those criticisms.
We have a very stringent requirements on our officers when using force. And the decision to use force is then. Our officers to determine then what level of force should be used in that occasions, and they should use the minimum level of force to achieve the operational objective.
The police have been criticised for firing non-lethal rounds into a crowd and for beating people at the top of an escalator at a train station on Sunday. From Hong Kong, here's the BBC's Jonathan Head.
This is how it starts every weekend now in Hong Kong. They've turned improvising barricades into an art form. They work with impressive speed and coordination. There's never much time before the police arrive. These confrontations are now a familiar routine in Hong Kong streets. Generally, the protesters retreat, avoiding direct contact. But by nightfall, the clashes were happening in multiple locations across the city and getting worse. The police are stressed and acting at times with little restraint. This was Tai Koo Underground Station, where protesters were corralled by the police and then beaten and driven down the escalators. The Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab has called for an independent investigation into police tactics. It's one of the 5 demands made by the protest movement. But his intervention has not gone down well with China, which views this as an internal matter.
The longer this goes on, the greater the risk of more overt intervention by China. Now, that's something that clearly worries Britain as a joint guarantor of this city's special status. But China's just made it clear it will not accept what it calls British meddling. And the influence of Hong Kong's one-time colonial power these days is very limited.
There are those here who still hope for some kind of foreign support for their cause. In truth, though, they are largely on their own and up against an unyielding and increasingly impatient China, which has warned that it won't stand by if this unrest goes on. Jonathan Head, BBC News, Hong Kong.
Let's just take you live to Hong Kong. We've just got this live shot into us in the past few minutes or so, and let's show you a very busy Hong Kong airport. We're hearing about 5,000 protesters have gathered there, and the Hong Kong Airport Authority have sent a press release saying they're cancelling all flights that are not yet checked in and have advised members of the public not to travel to the airport. But just to be clear, they have said arrivals already heading into Hong Kong would be allowed to land. It's a big, busy airport in Hong Kong. It is one of the world's busiest. About 75 million passengers pass through the airport every year, or that was the case in 2018. But we've also been hearing today that tourism and retail sales have been strongly hit in Hong Kong because of these protests. The Tourism Board saying there was a double-digit decline in overall visitor numbers this past month and a significant drop in bookings for August and September because of these ongoing protests. But very calm at the airport at the moment, but more and more protesters are there and a huge amount of disruption for travellers. We hopefully will take you there to the airport live very shortly, so stay with us here on GMT for that.